Welcome to another session of the Animal Kingdom classification, and in this session we are going to look at the questions that may appear in the exam papers. These are some of the questions that have appeared before, and some of the questions are created by me, so you can actually have a look at the kind of different questions that may come and the approach you need to solve each of these questions. Now let's start with the first question. In sponges, the spongocele is lined by. First of all, if you have to answer this question, you need to know what the term spongocele is. Spongocele, as I have already mentioned, is actually the cavity, the hollow cavity that most poriferans have, that is lined by the endodermal cells. Now, if you remember right, the endoderm is lined by, which do you think is the most probable answer here? Well, if you said anything other than choanocytes, I'm afraid you're wrong, because choanocytes are the flagellated cells that is lining the spongocele, or the cavity that is formed by the endoderm, and where the food is taken and the food is digested by the sponges. So the correct answer is choanocytes, and this appeared in NEET 2017, which was last year. So these are the kind of questions that you can expect from Porifera, phylum Porifera in NEET and the other competitive exams. Now the second question. Which of these has a giant chromosome? Now this is a slightly tricky question because most of you may not remember this. It is a interdisciplinary sort of a topic. You're also going to learn this in 12th. So this is a combination of both your 11th and 12th syllabus. Which of these has giant chromosome? Now this giant chromosome has also another name called the lamp brush chromosome. So this may give you an idea. Does the answer did it get stuck here by somewhere, or did it strike you, the answer? Well, the right answer for this is Drosophila. Drosophila melanogaster which is also called the Cinderella of biotechnology, has a giant chromosome, or the lamp brush chromosome, in their salivary glands. The larvae of Drosophila have giant chromosomes. This appeared in the West Bengal joint entrance examination in 2012. So as you can notice, there is a difference in the pattern and the kind of questions they may ask. The difficulty level varies from each competitive exam, but the concept remains the same. So therefore, you are strong with your concepts, you can crack any kind of question. Now, some of these are fact-based. Even if they are fact-based, you need a different kind of approach to be solving some problems. Which of these is mismatched? Cycon, canal system; starfish, radial symmetry; ascaris, flame cell; prawn, hemocele. Now, let's analyze these one by one, which will help you solve the questions better. Now, Cycon, as we all know, belongs to phylum Porifera, and Cycon has a canal system. It is the right answer. Starfish has radial symmetry. Well, I told you it has a pentaradial symmetry. Therefore, starfish has radial symmetry, and this is the right answer. Then Ascaris and flame cells. But before we analyze what flame cells are and what Ascaris is, you should know what both are, right? So Ascaris is it's an Aschelminthes. It is a roundworm, and flame cell is one of the excretory organs. Let's keep this aside and discuss it later. Now, prawn, hemocele. Now, prawn is a crustacean. As I have told you, arthropods have a fluid-filled coelom. It is called the hemocele. Well, is that right? I don't think that's right. Hemocele is actually present in annelids and not prawns. So this is the mismatched one. Ascaris is having flame cells as its excretory organ. So that is the right option. Now, the next question. Distinguishing feature of cnidarians. Now this, cnidarians. I have been talking about this cnidarian. I have spoken about this before. So the cnidarians have a special feature. I have talked about the characteristic features of each phylum. So this is a straightforward question enough. So the distinguishing feature of cnidaria is presence of cnidoblasts. Okay, they are used both for offense and defense, as I have mentioned before, and which is why they have the name cnidaria in the first place. Find the odd one. C. lily, C. fan, C. cucumber, C. urchin. Now, in order to understand this question, you will also have to know the scientific and the common names of all these organisms. See, this question was chosen by me to demonstrate to you how important it is to know scientific names as well as vernacular names. Vernacular names is the more commonly used names, okay, as opposed to the scientific names which are constant. These have different names elsewhere, right? So, C. lily, C. fan, C. cucumber and C. urchin. What do you think is the odd one in here? Actually, the answer to this is C. fan, okay, because C. lily, C. cucumber and C. urchin are all echinoderms, okay. If you remember, right, C. cucumber, C. urchins, fair enough, they come under Holothuridae and Cnidaria classes respectively, and C. lily comes under the last class of Crinoideae, okay, of the echinoderms. But C. fan is actually an annelid. Okay, so C. fan is a annelid member and not the echinoderm member. So since all of these are echinoderms, this is the annelid, this happens to be the odd one out. Now the next question. Parasitic animals have well developed. Now I want you to analyze this question a little bit, because this might prove to be a tricky question. I know most of you have this technique of marking the option all of the above if it exists in a question, thinking it may be right because it's usually right, that the all of the above is the right answer. Okay, let me give you a straight up answer to this, and all of the above is the wrong answer. Okay, let's analyze each option further one by one, and I'll tell you why each of these options are valid or not valid. Now, digestive system. As I've already mentioned, the parasites only need to absorb what is given to them. Okay, they don't need a digestive system in the first place, because the animals, the host does the job for them. Okay, they give the parasites nice digested form of the food that the hosts take in. Okay, so that is why parasitic, they do not enable the host to absorb whatever they digest, they take in the digested food. So there is no need for the parasitic animals to have a digestive system at all per se. That is why most parasitic forms have partially or incompletely developed digestive systems. They only have a mouth so that they can ingest what is given to them, but that's about it. They do not have a well defined digestive system. Now, respiratory system. See, let us think about why this option is a little, you can eliminate it at the first glance itself, because see, most of these parasites are living in a host's body, right? They live in a closed space or a closed environment, or sometimes even harmful environments, like probably in the intestines where there is variation in pH and all of that. Okay, so think of a respiratory system. What can a respiratory system be used of to a parasite? It is not at all useful, because most parasitic organisms, like maybe even the Ascaris members or even the Platyhelminthes members, use general diffusion through the body surface to be able to breathe, to be able to take in. Some have even adopted completely to anaerobic system of respiration rather than having a well developed respiratory system for which they have no use. Okay, so respiratory system is the wrong answer. Now I'll also tell you why reproductive system is the most correct answer. See, reproductive system is the correct answer because it is obvious that the parasites have to multiply. The parasites have to make sure they're easily spread from one host to the other. Okay, for that they need to be producing a large number of ova, a large number of fertile ova, sperms and everything, just to make sure the offsprings are scattered everywhere, just to make sure they do have a complete life cycle. If they produce one or two huge eggs, okay, parasites, or one egg or two eggs, so what are the chances of an animal getting infected or infested by it, right? So that is one of the reasons reproductive system is very, very well developed in case of parasites. Next question. Aristotle lantern is an excretory organ, the masticatory organ in sea urchin, freshwater echinoderm, and a Greek shell. Okay, let's have a different approach to this question and give you the right answer right away. The right answer is masticatory organ in sea urchin. I'll tell you why the rest are wrong. Now, masticatory, before you jump onto the conclusion that this is the right answer, it is a fact-based question, right? I told you Aristotle lantern is present around the mouth region of the sea urchin. Now, masticatory, the word masticatory stands for chewing. Okay, so if something is masticatory, if an organ is masticatory, that means it is helping in chewing of food. Okay, so this is obviously the right answer, provided you know the meaning of the word masticatory. Okay, this is how people who are framing questions can play tricks with you. They can add terms that they may be a little sure you don't know, but I want you, it's just a process of learning the scientific terminology for various common things like masticatory for chewing, parturition for birth, so on and so forth. There are a lot of scientific terms for the common terms that we are generally used to. So it would be helpful for you if you would make a list of such and be familiar with the scientific words. The next question. There are 4 options here. Okay, and then the question is, filariasis is caused by which of the following? Now, I have explained filariasis. I am going to give you a small clue. I have explained the disease filariasis in the context of Aschelminthus, okay, or roundworms. Okay, so which do you think is the option, correct option here with the organism that causes filariasis? Okay, the right answer happens to be Wuchereria bancrofti, because it's a straightforward question. I had already told you Wuchereria bancrofti blocks the lymph nodes, okay, in the limb region, in the hind limb region, in the legs, and sometimes even scrotum and the penis in men. Okay, so it blocks, and even the scrotum and the penis swell up. So there is blockage of the lymph nodes by the adult worms of Wuchereria bancrofti, but I'll tell you why the other options are not so suitable. Now, Taenia Solium, first of all, Taenia Solium or the tapeworm comes under the class Cystoda of Platyhelminthes. It is not a roundworm, it is an Aschelminthus. It is a Platyhelminthes and not an Aschelminthus. This is the wrong answer. Now, what is Fasciola? Fasciola are actually flukes, flukes like the liver fluke, the blood fluke. Okay, they are also Aschelminthus, but they are also Platyhelminthes, but they come under the class Trematoda. Ascaris. Ascaris is the roundworm, but these do not cause filariasis. The Ascaris lumbricoides or any species, they cause intestine, blocking. Okay. Now the next question. Hirudinaria is. Now this is also a simple, straightforward question. This is actually the easiest question in the lot, I think, because Hirudinaria is carnivorous, herbivorous, sanguivorous, omnivorous. Now, before we get into the food habits of this animal, we need to know what Hirudinaria is. Hirudinaria is the leech. Okay, now you can easily tell me omnivorous, sanguivorous, herbivorous and carnivorous. It's definitely not herbivorous. It is not even carnivorous. So you have to choose between sanguivorous and omnivorous. It is not even omnivorous, because sanguivorous is, I hope you know what sanguivorous means because I've mentioned it before. Sanguivorous is the term used for some animals that survive on blood sucking habitats. Yeah, their habitat includes blood sucking and surviving. So sanguivorous happens to be the right answer. Now to the last question of the session. Living fossil is Neophilina, Lucifer, Nereis, Ascaris. Now, living fossil is that organism that is an extremely primitive organism. Okay, and sometimes they are also connecting link between two phyla. There, I've given you the clue. And the right answer is Neophilina. Now, this organism Neophilina galatiae comes under the phylum Mollusca. Okay, it is a connecting link between arthropoda and mollusca, and it is one of the most primitive organisms. Okay, it is a marine dwelling organism. Now, excuse me. Now, the option Lucifer. Now let's analyze why the option Lucifer is wrong. Lucifer is another name for the shrimp. Shrimp is first of all not it is not even a connecting link. It is not probably the most primitive organism. It is just a crustacean. Next one is the Nereis. Now Nereis is a annelidan. Okay, it's an annelidan member. It is also a primitive sort of an organism, but it's not a living fossil. It's not that primitive. Ascaris. Ascaris is your normal roundworm. So this is how, this was a very rough idea about how questions in these chapters are going to be and how they can be tackled. These are all just fact-based questions. There are not a lot of concept-based questions in this chapter because there is a lot of remembering to be done in this chapter. So the way you study chapters will depend on whether or not these are conceptual questions or they are fact-based questions. I hope this session has helped you. I wish you all the very best. Thank you.